What does it feel like to stand aboard a ship, gazing at the endless horizon, believing you're invincible against nature's might? Now imagine the unthinkable: calm waters suddenly turning into the stage for disaster. How could two vastly different ships, separated by decades and design, share eerily similar tragic fates? The MS Sleipner was a high-speed passenger ferry hailed as a modern marvel of the 1990s, cruising the Norwegian waters with precision and pride. Meanwhile, the MV Derbyshire, a massive bulk carrier built in the 1970s, represented the peak of industrial power, transporting iron ore across vast oceans. On the surface, their purposes and constructions were worlds apart. Yet both succumbed to forces beyond their control, leaving behind haunting questions of what truly went wrong. Were these tragedies merely accidents, or were they preventable? The MS Sleipner wasn't just another ferry, it was the crown jewel of Norway's maritime fleet. Its innovative catamaran structure and aluminum body were designed for speed and efficiency, making it a standout vessel. Luxurious interiors, panoramic views, and state-of-the-art navigation made every journey an experience of comfort. However, there was a trade-off. While speed and style were prioritized, concerns about stability and durability in extreme weather seemed to be an afterthought. It was a gamble, and the consequences of that gamble became horrifyingly clear during a routine voyage in November 1999. On that fateful night, weather conditions deteriorated rapidly. The ferry's high speed worked against it, reducing reaction time for the crew. The Sleipner struck submerged rocks near Hagesund, causing catastrophic damage to its hull. Water flooded in faster than anyone could react, and the once proud vessel capsized in minutes. Panic ensued, rescue efforts fell short, and the tragedy left 16 people dead, exposing the vulnerability of over-engineered designs in real-world conditions. The MV Derbyshire was a leviathan, a supertanker built to conquer the oceans and transport colossal cargo loads across the globe. At over 1,000 feet long, it was a behemoth of its time. Designed for durability and efficiency, the Derbyshire symbolized the apex of modern bulk carrier engineering. Yet, hidden flaws in its structure went unnoticed, masked by the confidence placed in its immense size. When it sailed into Typhoon Orchid in 1980, those flaws turned deadly. Battling massive waves and relentless winds, the ship's hull endured unimaginable pressure. Hairline fractures that had once been harmless widened under the strain, causing catastrophic failure. The ship sank within hours, leaving no time for a distress call. All 44 crew members perished, and the Derbyshire became the largest British vessel ever lost at sea. Decades later, investigations revealed that design shortcomings and inadequate maintenance sealed its fate, marking a grim lesson in hubris and oversight. When comparing the Sleipner and Derbyshire tragedies, one thing becomes strikingly clear: both disasters stemmed from human overconfidence. For the Sleipner, the pursuit of speed and elegance overshadowed safety measures. Its high-speed design made it a marvel on calm waters but a liability during unpredictable weather. On the other hand, the Derbyshire fell victim to unseen structural weaknesses and the arrogance of believing size alone could conquer nature's fury. Both disasters also reveal the gaps in emergency preparedness. The Sleipner's crew lacked the time and tools to ensure a proper evacuation, while the Derbyshire's crew faced an insurmountable storm without realizing the structural failures that awaited them. These stories serve as a somber reminder that no vessel, no matter how advanced, is immune to the forces of nature when human oversight fails. The investigation into the MS Sleipner disaster was swift but unsettling. Authorities were determined to uncover what caused a state-of-the-art vessel to fail so catastrophically. Early findings pointed to a fatal combination of poor weather conditions and human error. But the real shock came when investigators examined the ship's design. The aluminum structure, while innovative, lacked the durability to withstand the rocky coastlines it frequently navigated. Further scrutiny revealed a lack of adequate safety measures on board. Lifeboats were insufficiently deployed, and emergency protocols were not well practiced. Survivors testified that confusion and panic overtook the crew, who seemed ill-prepared for such a crisis. The investigation concluded with scathing criticism of design priorities that favored aesthetics over resilience, serving as a harsh lesson for the maritime industry. The disappearance of the MV Derbyshire was an enigma for decades. With no distress signal and no wreckage initially found, speculation ran rampant. Did a catastrophic storm overwhelm the ship? Was there sabotage? Or did human error play a role? It wasn't until 1994, 14 years after the tragedy, that an expedition finally located the wreckage deep in the Pacific Ocean. What they found was heartbreaking. The Derbyshire's hull had fractured under immense pressure, likely due to pre-existing weaknesses. Investigators determined that poorly welded joints and structural fatigue were primary culprits. The weight of its cargo and the relentless assault of Typhoon Orchid sealed its fate. The tragedy spurred significant changes in maritime safety standards, ensuring no such disaster would happen again without a thorough examination of a ship's structural integrity. At the heart of these maritime tragedies lies an undeniable truth: the human cost is immeasurable. On board the MS Sleipner were families returning home, commuters on a routine journey, and crew members dedicated to their work. Their lives were lost because of preventable design flaws and inadequate emergency planning. The Derbyshire, meanwhile, carried 44 crew members, all of whom were far from home, trusting the vessel they worked on to carry them safely. Their stories remind us of the fragility of human life and the heavy responsibility borne by those who design and operate these massive vessels. Both disasters led to profound grief and left behind grieving families and unanswered questions. But they also sparked a determination to prevent such tragedies, pushing the maritime industry to prioritize safety over speed and size. The Sleipner and Derbyshire disasters are more than stories of loss. They are cautionary tales that have reshaped maritime policies and practices. Modern vessels now undergo rigorous stress tests to ensure their structural integrity. Emergency protocols are practiced more frequently, and rescue technology has advanced dramatically. These changes are the direct result of painful lessons learned from these tragedies. Moreover, these stories serve as reminders of the delicate balance between innovation and safety. For the Sleipner, prioritizing aesthetics over durability proved fatal. For the Derbyshire, overlooking small flaws in design had catastrophic consequences. Both vessels are now remembered not just for their tragic ends, but for how their legacies have saved countless lives. Even with all the investigations, discoveries, and changes, some questions about these tragedies remain unanswered. For the MS Sleipner, critics argue whether better weather forecasting or an alternative route could have saved lives. Were the crew's actions during the crisis appropriate, or could more lives have been spared with better training? As for the MV Derbyshire, conspiracy theories still linger. Was the ship deliberately sabotaged, or did it encounter an unreported collision? The sheer isolation of its wreck site raises doubts for some, while others point to natural factors as the sole culprits. These unresolved elements continue to intrigue maritime historians and fuel discussions about the challenges of navigating the unforgiving seas. Survivors of the MS Sleipner tragedy recount harrowing tales of bravery and loss. Their stories shed light on the chaos during the sinking, the heroic efforts to save lives, and the haunting memories they carry. For the families of the Derbyshire crew, closure was delayed for over a decade, leaving a lasting scar. Their voices emphasize the human side of these disasters. Beyond the statistics and investigations are personal stories of love, hope, and unimaginable grief. These voices have played a crucial role in ensuring the victims are not forgotten, keeping pressure on authorities to improve maritime safety standards worldwide. Both disasters became turning points for the maritime industry. Following the Sleipner tragedy, high-speed ferries were redesigned to prioritize stability and safety over sleekness. Emergency protocols became more stringent, and crew training was overhauled. Similarly, the Derbyshire's investigation led to stricter standards for bulk carriers, particularly those operating in harsh conditions. Inspections became more frequent, and shipbuilders started incorporating advanced materials to prevent structural fatigue. These changes demonstrate how tragedies, while devastating, can lead to progress and save lives in the long run. Stories of the MS Sleipner and MV Derbyshire remind us of the power of nature and the cost of human error. They also highlight humanity's ability to learn, adapt, and strive for improvement. Maritime disasters are a sobering reminder of the stakes involved when venturing into the unpredictable seas. As we honor the lives lost in these tragedies, we must also carry forward the lessons they've taught us. Every safety measure, every technological advancement, and every new regulation carries the legacy of those who perished. In their memory, we continue to push for safer seas, ensuring that history does not repeat itself. Thanks for watching, and like, share, subscribe my channel.